Hello and welcome to Brandy's Poetry Corner, reading some poems from David Whyte's selected poems from 1984 to 2007. This poem is quite long for me. I don't usually read poems this long, but it's such a wonderful story. I do like a nice story. It's called Arrivals. So this is Arrivals by David Whyte. Imagine the confines of a long grey corridor just before immigration at Washington Dulles Airport. Imagine two Ethiopian women amidst a sea of familiar international plastic blandness entering America for the first time. Think of their undulating multicoloured turbans raised atop graceful heads, transforming us, a grey line of travellers behind them, into followers and mendicants, mere drab, impatient, moneyed and perplexed attendants to their bright, excited, chattering arrival. Imagine a sharp plexiglass turn left, and suddenly before them, in biblical astonishment, like a vertical Red Sea churning, like the waters barring Moses from the promised land, like Jacob standing before his ladder, a moving escalator, a mode of rising, a form of ascension, a way to go up they'd never seen before. Its steel grey interlocking invitation on and up to who knows what, bringing them and everyone behind them to a bemused, complete and utter standstill. So that you saw it for the first time as they saw it, and for what it was, a grated river of lifting steel, an involuntary moving ascension into who knows what, an incredible surprise. And you knew, even through your tiredness, why it made them raise their hands to their mouths, why it made them give low, breathy screams of surprise and delighted terror. You saw it as they saw it, a staircase of invisible, interlocking, beckoning hands asking them to rise up, independent of their history, their legs or their wills. And we stopped, as we knew we had to now, and watched the first delighted, determined woman put a sandaled foot on the flat grey plain at the foot of the moving stair, and sure enough quickly withdraw it with a strangled scream, leaving her sandal to ascend strangely without her into heaven, into America, into her new life. Then, holding her friend away, who tried to grab her, to save her, to hold her back, who pointed and shouted, telling her not to risk herself, not to be foolish, she silently watched her shoe, that willful child running ahead, its sole intent to enter the country, oblivious to visas and immigration, above the need for a job, uncaring of healthcare, pointing towards some horizon she had never dreamt, intent on leaving only its winged footprint for her to follow, like a comet's tail, like an omen of necessity, like a signalled courage, like an uncaring invitation to make her entrance with soul and style. Because she looked up at this orphaned onward messenger, with her eyes ablaze, threw off the panicked, clamouring arm of her friend, raised her chin in noble profile, and with all that other hurrying clamour of the world behind her, with a busy, unknowing, corporate crowd at her back, and questions beginning to be asked out loud, she lifted her arms, clapped her hands, threw back her head, and with a queenly, unbidden grace, strode onto the ascending, heaven-bound steel like a newly struck film star, singing the old high-pitched song of her children would hear when she told the story again. And as her friend below sang, applauded, danced on the spot, and ululated her companion's arrival, we stood there behind her, transfixed, travel-weary, and crammed into the corridor like extras from some miraculous scene in the Bible, while she ascended, her arms straight out, wide-eyed and singing into America. Thank you. Isn't that a wonderful story? As I've got older, I'm a bit nervous about escalators, so I do understand that, even though I've spent my life with them, and I cannot imagine what it must be like to experience them for the first time. I hope she had a good life in America. For other poems read by me, look me up, Brandy Pearson, on YouTube. Thank you.